From the station that made country music famous, 650 AM WSM, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Hi, it's Charlie Matos, and in this episode, we Zoom with Lindsay Ell. Lindsay was getting set to play the Grand Ole Opry. We would talk about the Opry experience. We would talk about her new single and video, influences, and a 24-hour live stream she did to debut the new album. Enjoy our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast with Lindsay Ell.
From WSM Radio, this is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
I feel so international at times like these with my friend Lindsay Ell joining us here on Coffee, Country, and Cody. She's headed to the Opry stage because our mutual friend, Paula Turner, one of the glam squad in this town in Nashville, one of the great hair and makeup artists, and she worked with me for years and years and years on Great American Country Television and at the Opry on occasion. I just haven't seen her in way too long. There's a lot of people, Lindsay, you would agree we haven't seen in way too long. Lindsay Ell joins us wearing her toque, and she's got a puppy in her lap. That's how you stay warm in Nashville on a cold winter morning.
Hey, that is how you stay warm. Bill, it is so good to see your face. And yes, when you said the word toque, I'm like, somebody is very international. I'm so impressed.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to everybody here in the States calling it a beanie. And so I even call it a beanie because if I say toque, they're like, a what?
To be
Your
honest,
stocking cap in Canada is a toque.
Yes.
I learned from Paula, and then I started using that, and that's what I call it. And nobody knows what I'm talking about. And a stocking cap, obviously, but somehow in the South, and I don't know if it's because you wore it on your head on the few snow days that we have in the South, but it became a toboggan as a colloquial or regional expression that you wear on your head.
And a toboggan in Canada is like a sled.
yes.
So, you can just have a whole conversation and be completely confused.
Well, listen, don't get us started on hose pipe or chicken meat.
Oh,
okay, the
my
hamburger meat.
goodness.
Those things confuse
True
me
that.
too. So, okay.
True that. We could talk all day.
Lindsay Ell has joined us. We're going to feature music from Heart Theory. You're going to hear it all over the world as you listen to radio and stream, and you're going to be able to see it in just a little bit. Video here on Circle Television. Country and the Opry, they both play here, and you're on your way to the Grand Ole Opry. And listen to this lineup. Tomorrow night, Lindsay's going to be there, and she's going to be back on Friday the 15th. First of all, the Opry Square Dancers are going to start tomorrow night. And this is being streamed live, of course, on Circle. You pull it up on Facebook, stream it all over the world, and then the full show will air on the Circle Television Network next Wednesday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Opry Square Dancers, Connie Smith, Mark Wills, Kaylee Shore, who joined us just a little bit ago, Brad Upton. He is a comedian, for those of you who don't know Brad's story, a grade school teacher and track coach turned comedian. Terry Clark, Emmylou Harris, and Lindsay Ell will be taking you home in that final segment of tomorrow night's Grand Ole Opry. What runs through your mind when you hear your name mentioned with the others that I just ran down?
That is quite the list, Bill. And I'm just really honored. I'm really honored. I remember listening to the Grand Ole Opry in the kitchen with my grandpa growing up. And my brother and I would sit there with him and welcome to it was your voice. And and now to know that that's my reality and I can walk on that stage, I can step inside that circle and truly be able to share the stage with legends that I have grown up wanting to be. I mean, I listened to Terry Clark growing up being like, I want to do that one day. And Emmylou Harris, my goodness, where do we even begin? Like the songstress of our time. And to be able to stand beside her on that stage, it's just, I feel totally humbled.
Yeah, she is truly, when you think of country music, royalty, and sometimes that's thrown around a little too loosely, but she absolutely qualifies. I remember, I go back to the days with Emmylou Harris, hard-earned money, buying a ticket to see her on a bill where she headlined and opened. She was opening now for Willie Nelson on tour. I remember Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, and guess who one of her band members was? He could play about anything, but the mandolin was his go-to. His name, Ricky Skaggs. And you fast forward to the present, and they're both in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
I know, which is so crazy. I mean, Ricky Skaggs, my goodness. I grew up learning how to play guitar.
I don't know if we're going to get her back. Sometimes when we have these little glitches, they come right back, and sometimes they don't. But Charlie, I tell you what, we're going to roll on the video and the single that I teased just a little bit ago. Let's do that, and we'll reboot Lindsay. Lindsay Ell has joined us this morning on her way to the Opry tomorrow night, and then Friday the 15th, she's going to be back. The Grand Ole Opry, Lindsay Ell. There she is back. We're going to go ahead and feature this video for Want Me Back, and as you listen, stream at WSMOnline.com.
Typical you, always wanting what you can't have.
Gosh, you left us with a big cliffhanger there, Lindsay Ell, when your feed froze just a moment ago here on Coffee, Country, and Cody in our Zoom interview. She's on the way to the stage of the Grand Ole Opry tonight, and she will be on the Circle Television stream and, of course, in the full television show, the television portion next Wednesday in its entirety. The Grand Ole Opry welcomes Lindsay Ell with Terry Clark and Emmylou Harris in that last hour. And I was talking about Emmylou, seeing her in the early days. Ricky Skaggs was in her band, and then you started talking about Ricky Skaggs. It almost sounded like Ricky Skaggs taught me guitar lessons.
Well, perfect. That's exactly what I want to say. I know, my goodness, navigating internet in these times. Yeah, I learned how to play guitar playing bluegrass music with my dad, like going to bluegrass camps. And so I grew up learning Ricky Skaggs songs. And that's how I really started to learn how to play guitar. So anytime I get to see Ricky Skaggs at the Opry, it like brings me back to my childhood. And again, it's just like a pinch me moment. I'm like, well, there he is in person. Like, what is this?
Well, one of the highlights of 2020, and, in our industry, there haven't been a lot of those we could look back on, but one of them certainly for you was your 24-hour launch marathon for Heart Theory. Recollect, now that time has passed, we've turned the corner into a new year, which is more psychological for us than anything else. I mean, it's
sure.
You flip the calendar, and in reality, it's just another day, and what are you going to make of it? But what do you recall about that moment in time for you and what it did for your career?
Bill, it was such an incredible day. I wanted somehow to celebrate, the release of this album I'd been working on for the past 3 years. And yet normal record release weeks, we're traveling all over the place and doing all this press. And so since we could only really be in one room, I was like, well, let's do a live stream event and let's focus every time zone around the world. So we started in Tonga, which is the time zone before New Zealand. And then we went New Zealand, Australia, Japan, and we went to every time zone around the world and had guests like athletes and actors and musicians and chefs. And I was like cooking breakfast on live stream, and we were doing all these crazy things. And it was just such an incredible way to show that we are all going through this together. Our world is actually a really small place, and we're all navigating through this time right now, one day at a time. And I think that music is just such an incredible force that can bring us together. It's that universal language, that can bring us together in times like this to really be like, okay, what are we feeling right now? How can we process those feelings? And how can we all heal and grow from it as human beings on this planet? And so it was such a cool day. It was exhausting. And after I had busked on Broadway about 5 years ago for 24 hours straight in person, when I said I was never going to do it again, fast forward 5 years later, and here I am doing another 24-hour show. So who knows? Maybe we'll have another one in a few years.
Well, how cool that you had fans who went for all 24 hours with you, too, all around the world.
Oh,
yeah.
My goodness, it was crazy. I was like, you guys are insane. Like, I love a lot of musicians, but I would not sit through 24 hours of live stream with them. And I just felt so loved and so appreciated. And yeah, I had a core group of like 250 fans who stayed with me the whole entire time. Mm-hmm. And we had about 24 million impressions by the end of 24 hours. Wow. So it was crazy.
Well, you know what I wish for you tomorrow night on the Grand Ole Opry? 24 million impressions.
Yes.
Programming and management at Circle Television.
I will
and
hold
WSM's
you guys
Grand
to
Ole.
that.
All right. Hey, what's your doggy's name?
This is Hendrix.
All right.
Oh, hi, Jimmy.
National television.
Exactly.
Lindsay Ell, we love you. Thanks for coming
I
on.
love you guys so much. Bye.
Thanks for listening to our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Our program director at WSM Radio is J. Patrick Tinnell. Our digital producer is Haley Hall. Marketing and promotions director is Amanda Cannon. And I'm Charlie Matos. If you like what you've heard, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And leave us a review on iTunes. It really does help new people find the show.